because at the end of the day, I still want to be able I don't dislike George Washington. I don't dislike even some of the most racist people in history. But I want to know their history, but I also want to know not only that, you know, hey, they were whatever, but I also want to know about the Shirley Chisholms. I also want to know about the Frederick Douglass. And not even Nat Turner. I want to know more about Nat Turner than him just being some revolutionary. I want to know the Nat Turner that was out in the fields. I want to know the Nat Turner that grew up as a kid. I don't want to know just the narrative. You know, tuned in to Urban Conservative. 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 Tuned in to Urban Conservative.
Q9, my food time, hold it up and smoke it. Transgression of progression of a war we ain't asked for. Transgression of progression of a war we ain't asked for.
It's madness, yo. All the things that we could talk about.
Call it.
But let's talk about these urban circumstances real quick.
And basically it's
we got this.
So
Revolutionary.
Frosty hand. Muhammad is the famed name, forever stand.
Standing on royal fusing of justice for the few, ridiculed by the pale terrorists bent on genocidal obsession, rooted in fear of neglection and abandonment, fueled by nightmares of ancestors' jealousy.
truth, because at the end of the day, I still want to be able to I don't dislike George Washington.
The kind of friends I think all friends should be like my friends. My friends are the kind of friends I think everyone needs. My friends see the things at times I don't see. My friends hate the police.
What has changed?
Are deemed the criminals, and the blacks are deemed the criminals.
Shut up and help.
Reflection ain't nothing but the inner child trying to see you. You gonna look? You gonna pick up that book?
Lord, keep me far from the faith. Guide me through night and day. Teach me your ways. Show me the righteous way to sway. Lord, can you teach me, please? Show me the way, I'd say.
Good morning, 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 and grand rising. And welcome to the Urban Conservative with Chaz Neal. I wanted to start off today. We're going to talk about Minneapolis Crossroads, right? There's a lot of community tensions right now, and they also have a fiscal tightrope. But before I get into that, you guys know I love paying homage to Minneapolis, to Minnesota. And I want to pay homage right now to some Minneapolis cats. And I didn't know about Louis Blaze until 2020. I didn't know that he was an artist. Didn't really listen to a lot of local music. Now I listen to a lot of local music. That's literally what I listen to is independent music. So I wanted to pay some homage to some brothers, some young brothers at that, who in 2020 released a song called America. Matt Turner, Prince Riley, and Louis Blaze. And I want to play that. So I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to let it play and share your thoughts.
Hashtag guilty 612, yeah. Living in America. Let me tell you how I feel, like the whole world's end coming near, got nothing left to fear for real. I've been living in America, where you ain't shit if you ain't ballin', if you don't swim in money, you a target, let's have a talk for real. Living in America. As you grow, it's getting real. People same color as me getting killed. Don't know how to chill, but still, I've been living in America. Well, I no longer want it all, cause I don't wanna pay that price, I don't know what it costs for real. Praying for the Amazon and enough for life as we know it burning in that field. They got us distracted over a sandwich that you niggas can make it the crib. I wanna give up, I wanna lose gravity, just to wave my goodbye away from all the insanity. We got too many problems that ain't nobody tryna solve. You can get popped on your block or shot by the cops. So nigga, who you finna call? That's why I be placed in my homie. It's the only place where I'm lonely. I tell all my bros to stay on this square, cause ain't no replacing my homies. Sometimes I feel like if I get high, the pain will go away, but it never works, cause when it fades away, I feel the same. I apologize to Mother Earth for living here in vain, but I can speak for the entire human race, and this what it's like living in America. Let me tell you how I feel, like the whole world's end coming near, got nothing left to fear for real. I've been living in America, where you ain't shit if you ain't ballin', if you don't swim in money, you a target, let's have a talk for real. Living in America. As you grow, it's getting real. People same color as me getting killed. Don't know how to chill, but still, I've been living in America. Well, I no longer want it all, cause I don't wanna pay the price, I don't know what it costs for real. I don't feel free in this land of the free. Got these cuffs on my hands while I'm down on my knees, and I can't resist, there's no way I could flee. Still I'm threatening like Eric, now I cannot breathe. I gotta stay strong, can't show no weakness. Gotta wake the ones who still sleeping. Gotta make a change just like the season. See the opportunity, I gotta seize it. Gotta pray to God and ask for hope. I gotta beat the odds and stand for those who also got their back against the ropes with a way to cope and wish the pain would go. So I ask, will we ever let the cage bird fly? Forever we heard the cage bird cry. So never look in the cage bird, I realize the cage bird really us inside. We both bleed, breathe, think and eat, sleep, dream, believe and seek. We be free, we all see things we need to achieve, but unity is the truest key. Living in America. Blaze. Let me tell you how I feel, like the whole world's end coming near, got nothing left to fear for real. I've been living in America. Well, you ain't shit if you ain't ballin', if you don't swim in money, you a target, let's have a talk for real. Living in America. As you grow, it's getting real. People same color as me getting killed. Don't know how to chill, but still, I've been living in America. Well, I no longer want it all, cause I don't wanna pay that price, I don't know what it costs for real. Prosecutors did me like they did me. Trying to stop the way I eat. Hands up, freeze, get down on your knees. Choppers with the beans, got me yelling, please, Lord, can you help me now? Mine told me take a plea or guilty, you be found. Yeah, they be lying through their teeth. I swear it's like you guilty till you proven innocent. Innocents catching sentences, getting sentences from the witnesses, like the witnesses getting benefits. Ain't no justice in this world we living in. Yeah, people die every day, but police supposed to be serving, protecting. They taking my people away. I gotta free my people. Open some doors, no peepholes. Gotta take a chance like CeeLo. I can't let them burn my ego. Man down, he gone. Case gone bad, now he gone. 2 men away from their home. Too long. But that's what it's like. Living in America. Let me tell you how I feel, like the whole world's end coming near, got nothing left to fear for real. I've been living in America. Well, you ain't shit if you ain't ballin', if you don't swim in money, you a target, let's have a talk for real. Living in America. As you grow, it's getting real. People same color as me getting killed. Don't know how to chill, but still, I've been living in America. Well, I no longer want it all, cause I don't wanna pay that price, I don't know what it costs for real. We got too many problems that ain't nobody trying to solve. You can get popped on your block or shot by the cops, so nigga, who you finna call? That's why I be placed in my homie. It's the only place where I'm lonely. I tell all my bros to stay on this way, cause ain't no replacing my homies. That's why I be placed in my homie. It's the only place where I'm lonely. I tell all my bros to stay on this way, cause ain't no replacing my.
So that was Louis Blaze, Mac Turner, and Prince Riley, man. And to be honest, I never had heard that song until just the other day. But damn, yeah, that was shit was it was moving because that came out March 25th, 2020. And there was some things in there that were said that I don't think people are actually paying attention to because we were so busy playing all these celebrities, you know, Meek, Lil Baby, anybody that was coming out with music for BLM during that year. You know, we played Kendrick, Beyonce, so much others, but there was music that was locally that wasn't even getting no play, and still to this day, really a lot of Minnesota artists are underrated, man. Like, but I see what they're doing too. They don't care about, you know, being respected really locally, but you damn sure going to put some respect on their name. So with that being said, man, let's get into this shit today, because there's a lot that I want to discuss today, and I feel like it is something that needs to be discussed, especially when it comes to Minneapolis. There's a lot going on right now. There's a ton going on, and the first thing that I want to get into, you know, is you know, these community programs, because there's organizations, you know, like Agape, A Mother's Love, We Push for Peace, you know, Touch, Outreach, you know, just tons, right? Which work with former gang members and the formerly incarcerated, which have often stirred mixed feelings in the community. While their mission is to rehabilitate and reintegrate, there's a lingering suspicion that these programs might exploit the very people that they aim to help, potentially turning them into informants, which we have literally showed of how this, you know, this program, these so-called nonprofits and all of them work when it comes to, you know, we've seen it where We Push for Peace, where, you know, they had contracts with, you know, Cub Foods, Aldi's, you know, DID, you know, whatever. It's really not whatever, but there is such a history of abuse when it comes to these programs, these nonprofits, these contracts. There's no metrics, there's no oversight how the money's spent, and we've seen such a fraudulent abuse when it comes to the resources, and we're continually seeing it all through the state, not just Minneapolis. It's at our state legislature too. But the thing of it is, it benefits statewide, right? But the majority of it you feel in the Twin Cities. You feel in cities like Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, you know, Duluth, because they have such a higher minority population. And you get to these little rural areas where Black people, and Black and brown, are far and few between, because you have more of farmers, you have more of you know, places of where you got to go miles to enjoy life. I shouldn't say really enjoy life, but the life that we understand in the inner city, in the big city, right? You know, and I've seen reports that inadvertently say that, you know, these organizations fuel gang violence and community tensions, leading to a vicious cycle where cities pour more funds into these programs without addressing the root causes of the issues. And I do feel like that's one thing that is really ignored in the state legislature, is the fact that they ignore the root issues, the core, right? Because it's always, let's just throw money at it, but we don't never want to just literally nip it in the bud. And this is something that I've talked about multiple times. I don't have all the answers. I'm not saying that I do, right? It is going to take a collective, collaborative effort from everybody, regardless of your views. You know, we have to come to some kind of common ground, because right now our communities are suffering, right? Nobody's out here telling us the truth. And nobody wants to do the research, right? So how do we move forward? How do we fight fire with fire? You know, everybody says that you can't, but we got to do something or the houses are going to burn down, and it's burning down. If we're not going to sit there and do something, because this is the thing that I've said, right? And I know me and Robert have said this ever since the debacle Sunday night is, you know, I get tired of hearing all the talk. What can we do about it? Because I don't want to wait till November, because I understand that the Democrats aren't going to do what we need them to do. Neither are the Republicans. Because I think it's great that you guys are coming out and you did 25 minutes of yakking. You still voted. You didn't stop the vote. So if this is the thing of it is, because I do agree with, I want to fight back. And I agree. This is the thing that I love about Royce, right? And I'm starting to love him more and more as I listen to him, because I love that energy. I listened to him twice yesterday. Once on John Justice, and the other one on Steve O'Bannon. Steve, whatever, O'Bannon. I don't know what the fuck dude's name is. But damn, he was saying some really things of like, it's time to make that shift. Now is the time. If we can't just talk about it no more. It's time to put those words into action, right? Because they're doing it. The Democrats are doing it, and they're not doing it for the people. And we need to understand that. There were so many things in that omnibus bill of now it went from 1,431 pages all the way up to almost 1,500. They added almost 60 pages to that. And is Walz going to veto that? No, because it fits his agenda. You know, everybody wants to bring up, 2018. Dayton vetoed that omnibus bill. That's what people are out here saying. That bill was vetoed. Is Walz going to veto this one? No, because it's his. They have a trifecta. Now, if people went back and looked at everything that they're talking about in 2018, you will see that the Republicans were in control. And Dayton is the one that vetoed, right? So you tell me. Hold on, I'm trying to. Yeah, so let me see. I'm gonna pull it up real quick so we can just all read this together, because this is something that needs to be. Mark Dayton vetoes omnibus bill 2018. All right. Oh, this ain't the one I had. I'm still here. I know. So, all right, here it is. Now I just got to share the screen. Oh, no, that ain't right. All right, here we go. So, this is 2018. This is May 24th, 2018. The dust is settling after Governor Mark Dayton vetoed the biggest bills of the 2018 legislative session, the tax and budget bills. One state lawmaker says that the nearly 1,000-page budget bill was too big a lift, literally. Around the Capitol, they called a massive supplemental bill Omnibus Prime, as in Optimus Prime, the leader of the Autobots and the Transformers movies. This bill is huge, 990 pages, 350,000 words, 11.5 pounds. It's a bill so big the Minnesota Senate won't print it as it takes too much paper. Wow. This is a failure of government, says State Senator John Marty, Democrat, Roseville. Marty says this massive budget bill comes very close to violating the Constitution's single subject requirement because it includes hundreds of unrelated items. I want somebody to tell me that what the single subject of all these things is. It's garbage. There are good things in here, but it's a heap of garbage, everything thrown in. It's the same, everything that the Democrats were saying in 2018, the Republicans are saying now, right? They were saying that it was unfair. And it's crazy to me of how, yeah, and here we go, here goes a statement. Part of it was about running out of time. Senate Republican Majority Leader Paul Gazelka, and part of it was that we wanted a bill that had so many good things in it with very few minor policy provisions when you look at them, that we thought we would sign that. Large omnibus bills are nothing new at the Minnesota Capitol, no matter which political party. But just this year, lawmakers had just 3.5 hours to read the bill before voting. They only had an hour and a half this year. To put that in context, the bill is nearly as long as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Government is never going to be perfect, but we're supposed to try to follow rules. If you like to read the omnibus bill yourself, here it is. Just give yourself plenty of time. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm saying. These bills be big as fuck. And if we're not understanding, if we're not paying attention and reading them, how are we supposed to make change, right? Because I'm going to tell you, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the unseen impact of school closures. Recent research highlights the unintended consequences of school closures on public safety and youth incarceration. When schools shut down, students affiliated with gangs, and I say affiliated, right? And I put gangs because that I didn't want to change wording on stuff that they use, right? Because I think we can all learn from what we learn on the streets and what is being taught in our educational institutions, right? That are forced to cross into rival territories, escalating the risk of violence. This situation underscores how decisions at the city and state level can unintentionally exuberate community tensions, often under the guise of alternative policing strategies. I don't think people fully understand that. Growing up in the inner city, there was areas, even today, that is certain marked territories. This is one thing that you don't ever see certain organizations doing certain things in certain areas, right? Because they know that they're not allowed over there, because they have affiliations with gangs that are over, let's say, in areas that they're not in. That's stuff that we just have to face facts with, is that even when it comes to these black churches, there is events that certain churches can't go to and do events because of their gang affiliation. That's just real shit. And I would love for somebody to say that I'm sitting here lying. I would love for somebody to sit here and say that I'm lying, because I can prove it. So, what I want to get into, and then I got an article for the school closure. All right, so why youth incarceration fails. Though the number of youth confined nationwide has declined, and it has, that's because we weren't charging, and we still are continuing to charge either, because we don't have any facilities, right? Our country still incarcerates far too many young people. It does so despite overwhelmingly evidence showing that incarceration is an ineffective strategy for steering youth away from delinquent behavior, and that high rates of youth incarceration do not improve public safety. Incarceration harms young people's physical and mental health, impedes their educational and career success, and often exposes them to abuse. And the use of confinement is plagued by severe racial and ethnic disparities. This publication summarizes the evidence documenting the serious problems associated with the youth justice system's continually heavy reliance on incarceration and makes recommendations for reducing the use of confinement. It begins by describing recent incarceration trends in the youth justice system. This assessment finds that the sizable drop in juvenile facility population since 2000 is duly large to a substantial decline in youth arrest nationwide, not to any shift toward other approaches by juvenile courts or correction agencies once youth enter the justice system. Most youth who are incarcerated in juvenile facilities are not charged with serious violent offenses, yet the United States continues to confine youth at many rates of other nations, and it continues to inflict the harms of incarceration disproportionately on Black youth and other youth of color, despite well-established alternatives that produce better outcomes for youth and community safety. Part one of the report reviews the research on the outcomes of youth incarceration. The evidence revealed these key findings. Incarceration does not reduce delinquent behavior. Incarceration impedes young people's success in education and employment. Incarceration does lasting damage to young people's health and well-being. Juvenile facilities are rife with maltreatment and abuse. Racial and ethnic disparities in incarceration are vast and unjust. Why incarceration fails. Part two of this report reviews the recent research on adolescent brain development and trauma. This research helps explain why incarceration is the wrong response in the vast majority of delinquency cases. Brain immaturity fuels delinquency. You know, I know this is something right here is what Mary Mortery has brought up in Hennepin County. And I know that, you know, they have on the books just this year, one thing that they are starting to do is not to charge juveniles until they are the age of 21. I personally think that's a problem. I believe in some cases because we are giving, I'll tell you like this, and me and Marcus have talked about this all the time. We weren't getting these fucking slaps on the wrist when we were kids. When we were out here, juveniles running the streets, we weren't getting these cuts, these breaks. I was 12 years old looking at going to adult prison. And that's the one crazy part that I will never understand, right? Is I've literally been in situations, seen, and if I'm lying, I'm dying, right? That shit, I think if I'll play it tomorrow, but I'm gonna go find it because there was literally last year, I think it was 14, that literally was shot, had already been shot twice. And it's like O'Hara was like, the crazy part of it is he's not the only one. It's crazy because that same kid literally crashed into the McDonald's on Lindale. I know that's the people won't remember that, but yeah, that was something that really, this shit just blew my mind of like how much our youth are out here traumatized, right? And not only just by themselves, but the shit that they see in real life, because I'll tell you right now, man, these streets are weird. It ain't like, let me put it like this, right? The shit that we see on TV with like The Walking Dead, you can literally go outside in your communities and see that shit. You literally can see it, of these people using all types of certain drugs, trank, shit, smoking fentanyl and shooting shit. Just in Ohio, this prostitute, they put out a health advisory about This prostitute that slept with over, I don't know who the fuck was sleeping with this broad. Because damn, I don't know who was paying for it and at that. But yeah, she had slept with over 200 people and she's HIV positive. It's like we as people don't even give a fuck no more. We'll just stick our dicks in anything. Like, I will never understand that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like people can be who you want to be, but let's do it safely. Let's be wise about it. There's too many vindictive. Like I will never understand that. That lady should definitely have the death penalty. Scientists have confirmed that the brain does not fully mature until the age of 25, and this lack of brain maturity makes, I know I'm probably saying that word right, maturity makes law breaking and other risk behaviors more common during adolescence. Research also shows that as their brain develops, their brains develop, the vast majority of youth age out of law breaking. Most youth who enter the justice system for delinquency never return to court on delinquency charges. Increased maturity is tied to desistance from delinquency. Early childhood trauma often feeds delinquency in adolescence. Incarceration can re-traumatize youth and make them less likely to succeed. Reducing incarceration through alternatives in policy and practice reforms. Part 3 of the report reviewed the research documenting programs and policies that reduce incarceration in ways that lessen delinquent behavior and improve young people's well-being. Community alternatives to confinement achieve equal or better outcomes at far lower cost. Youth advocate programs, credible messengers, intensive multi-pronged family-focused treatment models, wraparound programs, youth build programs led by grassroots, neighborhood, civic, and faith-based organizations. Now, there's a way to do this, right? And we have most of this. The problem is there isn't any oversight. There isn't any metrics. We just throw money at these programs. And what do we get in return? And I always ask that question, right? What do we get in return? Because we have murders aren't solved. First of all, we have way too many unsolved murders. We have way too many unsolved rape cases. We have way too many unsolved robberies. But yet we have all of these so-called violence interruption groups. And then we have police departments. So what's happening? Because there's no trust. And the crazy thing of it is people are actually starting to see these nonprofit organizations no different than the police departments. Because are you there to help the people, or are you there to control the people? Because I'll tell you right now, when you look at those contracts, and again, we came out and said this, is that even Minneapolis City Council has said it, is that those contracts weren't to prevent violence, they were to crowd control, to control the people. So, and these aren't my words, these are their words, right? These are city council members' words. So it's like, if we're going to do this, we got to do it right. And we're not doing it right. And it seems like every time we have these conversations about doing it the right way, and you get called a racist. And I'm talking about these white Republicans. You know what I'm saying? Of like, you have Mark Corrin, who has, even Elliott, they have really solid policies. Really solid that will help the community, right? Especially when it came to the African American Family Preservation Act. When there was brought up that this bill was so similar to something that was passed 30 years ago. And what did it do? You know, they didn't want to correct. See, that's the whole thing of it, is nobody ever wants to correct the wrongs. They just want to affirm them, right? And I will never understand that. Like, we're so quick to, it's just like with affirmative action, right? But nobody talks about how that originally came up anyways, because he originally wrote that, right? Dr. Claude Anderson wrote corrective, not affirmative, corrective action, not affirmative, and they switched it. So, and that's how it's been in history. But if we don't know our history, we're behind, right? So again, I see where they be going with this, but at the end of the day, I don't really feel like how is any of this really going to help us. The evidence reviewed in this report leaves no doubt that the youth incarceration is a failed strategy for rehabilitating young people and protecting the public. While declines in the number of confined youth are welcome, there remain vast opportunities to further reduce youth incarceration and improve public safety by following the evidence and doing what works. And that's something that I've literally researched on. Is there was a programs in Canada called SNAP. I reworded to fit Minneapolis. And did you think that we got any? Because when you actually want to prevent shit, that doesn't make dollars, right? They're not about, we wouldn't be in the crisis that we are in if it wasn't for the simple fact that, oh wait, wow, I missed the story. I'm trying to sit here and weave in the stories. But I want to talk about, MPD and how, the community struggles. So here we go. Let me sort of play in a minute. So there's an ad right now, but we're definitely gonna, I want you guys to listen to O'Hara. Because he talks about how the police having a police shortage. And this is something that's...
Today on Capitol Hill, President Biden paid tribute to the nearly 200 police officers killed in the line of duty over the past 2 years. The president noted the sacrifices that officers make and said the job is harder than it's ever been. Tonight, CBS's Scott McFarland reports on the shortages of police officers in many cities and what's behind the hiring crisis.
It's a Wednesday afternoon in Minneapolis.
Where are we headed, Chief? A person with a gun.
And Police Chief Brian O'Hara is racing to a priority call.
These guys are out here committing crimes.
The city is facing a critical shortage of police.
What's the value in going out on the call yourself?
I try and come out, to show the officers I'll be here to back them up.
O'Hara says his department is short more than 200 officers.
You've lost 40% of your force in the past 4 years. That sounds like a big problem.
It is incredible. It's not just that we lost 40% of the force. They've been facing the highest levels of crime and violence in some categories that the city has ever seen.
Minneapolis is facing a surge in assaults and nearly 36 shooting calls a month. Officers have been subject to some mandatory overtime.
These large-scale staffing shortages aren't limited to just Minneapolis. They're happening in police departments big and small, from coast to coast.
Philadelphia is short more than 1,000 officers. Chicago, 1,100. Los Angeles, nearly 500 officers. But here in Minneapolis, the hurdle is more than manpower.
Get out of the way!
It's trust, too. 4 years after the murder of George Floyd by a Minneapolis officer, the department has cleaned house of its top brass, hiring O'Hara from Newark, New Jersey as its new chief, seeking to change its culture. But not everyone thinks there's been enough change yet.
I don't think that the department has been transformed by choice. I think that it's been transformed by necessity.
Nakia Levy-Armstrong, a community activist here for nearly 2 decades, says O'Hara hasn't yet rid the department of all officers who are too physical or too focused on people of color.
It's unfortunate that they're down 40%, but this is of their own making, right? The handwriting was on the wall with regard to the conduct of many Minneapolis police officers.
Like many other departments, Minneapolis offers signing bonuses for new recruits.
Car one will back him up.
But O'Hara says the problem is deeper than money. In an editorial, he asks the question, are we expecting too much from police?
You must feel like you have no margin for error.
Yeah, but people expect perfection. every time. Absolutely. You all are doing an amazing job.
As he struggles to rebuild the force, O'Hara emphasizes to his officers summer usually means a spike in crime.
It's getting warmer, and staffing is definitely a concern.
Racing to respond,
you change to priority one
as it faces the slow process of restoring trust. Scott McFarland, CBS News, Minneapolis.
So you can see that we definitely have issues. We have issues, and they're not doing anything about them. They're not doing anything, but yet then we have this. Something that is really going to come up in Minneapolis is facing budget hole. What are they going to do about that? Right? Because Minneapolis faces nearly a daunting $21.6 million budget gap next year, a shortfall that threatens to trigger steep property tax hikes. The gap, exacerbated by the end of federal pandemic aid and rising labor costs, poses the city's most significant financial challenges since the Great Recession. Despite an uptick in sales and entertainment tax revenues, the city struggles to keep pace with the pay raises demanded by over 4,000 municipal workers in a tight labor market. As the city navigates these fiscal waters, Mayor Jacob Frey has voiced his opposition and layoffs and skepticism about the city's capacity to fund new programs. Meanwhile, the city council weighs various spending requests, including a significant investment in mobile voting operations to enhance voter outreach. With the end-of-year deadline looming, city officials are tasked with finding a balanced budget solution that minimizes the impact on public services. So that is something that's huge. How is that going to affect the community in large? Are public services going to be cut in certain areas because they just did add a whole bunch? Are property taxes going to be raised? That's something to watch. The budget process. That's you can also watch the BET board. So I think it's just time for people to get involved. Stop bypassing what's going on and paying attention to what's going on. So I want to take a quick break. But before I do that, during the break, I want to play the founder of the Leon Block, also an artist who goes by the name of Circumstantial Saint, and he's got a new song out to cover, and I just wanted to play that this morning. So I'm going to break real quick, and I will be right back.
I can feel growth. I know I make mistakes, and that's what fuels my earth. Spring rain whispers on the 27th day of April. I'm feeling the seeds sprouting under the surface. I can feel the growth. I know I make mistakes, and that's what fuels my earth. Under the surface. Under the surface. Circumstantial Saint. Under the surface. Under the surface. Under the surface. The smell of rain and taps of water beating against my umbrella. The sounds remind me to enjoy the weather. Look for signs from the other side, because right now I simply want the ability to stop time, freeze, look around, and breathe. But it seems I don't have the time. My life moves, so must I. I'm trying to listen for the sound that I can translate into whispers. Listen for the sound, looking up and down, trying to weed out the filter. Trying to weed out the filter. Looking up and down, trying to weed out the filter. I want to hear them now, my ancestors' whispers. The birds aren't around, only clouds. I'm kind of down, and decisions I made years ago remind me history can come back around. Seeking guidance on a broken vinyl sound. I think the sound of the rain caused the whispers to get drowned out. I enjoy the spring rain, but sometimes it gets me down. So see, they was trying to speak, but I couldn't listen. Something was missing, need connection fixing, the call wasn't getting through. So to my mom and friends and family you went to. They said you whispered deals and sought to heal some things I had missing or viewpoints I wasn't fixing, and they sought to confirm true. The ones who know my truth too. Rain puts me to sleep, and I know I should give more attention to how much it is that I believe. This is the time where I should carefully nurture my seeds. I spent more time in the rain, in the shade, than I have in the sun. But I need to not give myself up to blame. No shame, just what it is. I am here, I am human. This moment is what it is. Here in the physical, authentic, naked and brave. I got a list of demands. And all the haters see it simply as contraband. It's just a helping hand. Under the surface. Guide me on this journey. I'm trying to listen under the surface. Can I just get a chance? Just one glance. I'll continue to do the work and wear the pants. I'll continue to do the work and wear the pants. Continue to do the work and wear the pants. Continue to do the work and wear the pants. Spring rain whispers on the 27th day of April. I'm feeling the seeds sprouting under the surface. I can feel the growth. I know I make mistakes and that's what fuels my urban. Whisper or yell. Make moves so I can tell where you want me to be. Ancestors, I need guidance. Is the rain truly what I need? The surface, under the surface, under the surface.
Circumstantial saving. Spring rain whisper. Spring rain under the surface. Yeah, you will find the light. Circumstantial saving. Spring rain whisper. Spring rain under the surface. Yeah, you will find the light.
Yo, so that was Circumstantial Saint, Spring Rain Whisper, Aaliyah remix. Are You That Somebody beat? Give that a listen. That is out on YouTube. Wanted to, I'm gonna keep this within an hour today. So I didn't even, well, I knew this. I really wasn't paying attention recently, what was been going on, but I was known as, come to find out, as one of the best Black conservative podcasts in America. Yeah, and it blew my mind because I was like, no, this can't be real. You know, last year I was number 4, but it says that this from thousands of podcasts on the web and ranked by relevancy, authority, social media followers and freshness. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was number 1. And there's some pretty big people on here. The BCP I listened to, this one I listened to on Spotify. I haven't really listened to Kim Wade. I do see his show on there. Officer Tatum I listened to. And I couldn't even believe that I was ranked higher than some of these because they have way bigger followings than I have. The Chicago Red Pill, I do listen to that occasionally. Half Black Conservatives. This is a very good, because they really give it on both sides of, you know, talk about their white and their black side, and especially about their ethnic group, you know, their background. The Rise of the Black Republican. I've never listened to this. I don't know what this is. In Black and Right, I've never listened to this one either. Black Man Thinking, Stanley Levy. I've listened to him. For me, I like it. You know, a lot of these are actually, I feel like, really informative and educational people. Stanley really breaks it down more into like Constitution and because I'll tell you right now, these people are way more. Nope, I got to stop doing that. They've just been in the game longer than I have, so that's why they're following and all of that. But I'm coming. Black Friday. This one is, I think, really a good one that people should really pay attention to. Is Black Fridays. This is a very, 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 very insightful podcast. Honesty Kills. I need to catch up. I have not. So Honesty Kills, the Pierre Wilson Show, J Faith, the BIPOC Diaries, the Pink Elephant with Nicole Mitchell. I have not seen any of those. I listened to them, but the ones above, some of them, yes, are very great, very insightful, informative. So especially Officer Tatum, BCP, very great ones. But I was really shocked to see that, because I mean, look, I only have 1.1 followers. And these platforms, well, he's got about the same as mine, but I have nowhere near that many Instagram. So he's got 1.1 Facebook. I don't have, like, the following some of these cats is just enormous, and it's like, damn, and I'm ranked higher than them. I just thought that was an accomplishment. So thank you for, I don't know if people vote on this or whatever, but whoever, thank you. That was really a blessing to see me be on something, recommended my podcast for Black conservatives, and to be seen in that light with other Black conservatives is wow, it's a blessing. And so it's very nice to see other people appreciate your work and the things that you're doing, and not even know that, because I don't do this. I don't for none of that, right? I don't do this for money. I don't do this for clout, for fame. I just want to inform people. I want to educate people, because when we all know better, we can start doing better. That's one thing that I do believe in. And I think we need to get back to that. We need to be about educating, because that's how we get to the future. That is the passport to the future, because if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? How are you going to get there? How are you going to get there? That's all I'm asking, is if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there? They say you can't fight fire with fire, but if you don't fight at all, the whole house burns. Malcolm X showed us to face the flames, slide down the pole, suit up, and spray the hose. But it wasn't just about fighting the fire. It was about putting out the fire for good and stopping future blazes. Moving from segregation to unity, he handed us the map. Now, are we going to follow it? Education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare today. I want people to think about that. Tomorrow belongs to those who prepare today. Are we prepared? Because we're not fighting. We're not even doing nothing about these fires. Y'all don't even want to, you literally like putting a little water on them. to try to control it. It's not about putting the fire out. It's not about fighting the fire with fire. It's not even about preventing it from spreading. It's got nothing to do with that. And that's crazy to me of how we don't, as people, aren't saying something. How are we not paying attention to what's going on at the state capitol? Because that does matter. That does matter what's going on in their state capitol, because legislation matters. Policies matter. They affect us, right? If you literally had people coming out, because here's my thing of it is, right? And that's why I said that allyship is lying ship, right? That motherfuckers be lying like a motherfucker. That's why I can't fuck with Democrats, because you literally have the Vitas, the Frays, the Chavezes, the Bobby Hope champion, Bobby Hope, Cedric Frazier, all of these people, Omar Fatigue, Zanab Muhammad, but yet y'all aren't calling out Amy Klobuchar, who has locked up innocent men, young black men. And you're going to vote her in. You're still going to give her your vote because you think that's the lesser of two evils. Because they're literally going to give her. I'm going to tell you, that shit blows my mind, man. That blows my mind of that. That's why I can't stand with none of them. No. If you're a Democrat and you say you're going to vote Democrat and you're not calling them out, you're not holding them accountable, like Ron Latz, I got to give it up to Latz, right? Latz was the reason why the Equal Rights Amendment didn't go through on Sunday night. He was the only reason, because they have the majority. They have the trifecta, right? One Democrat, one. But there was so much bullshit that was passed in that you can self-identify to be black. You can do so much, and it was nothing there to help us. There was nothing to curb the violence. There was nothing about making our education system stronger. It was nothing about correcting the judicial mistakes they've made over the years. Wasn't anything about correcting the mass incarceration. Wasn't anything about fixing and rehabilitating our fucked up prison buildings or the water systems. It's never about correcting anything, because they will never admit that they're wrong. It's not, they'll never do that. They'll never admit when they're wrong. That's why I don't fuck with Keith Ellison. None of them. How can you be black and say you're a Democrat and you know of Marvin's story? You, regardless of what you might think of Mayan Burrell, right? You know these stories. You know these stories, because at the end of the day, it's what we just talked about, these second chances, right? This mass incarceration. These are literally failed democratic policies that hurt us. That hurt us. That hurt us. And yet nobody wants to talk about them. They don't even want to begin to deal with it. Oh, we ain't got time. Oh, right now is not the right time. Well, when is the right time? When is the right time? Because y'all got all day and night to talk about Palestine. You got all day to talk about Ukraine. Tell me that. When are we going to talk about it? When? Because it's crazy how the 4-year anniversary is about to come up of Minneapolis Police Department killing George Floyd. And yet, no change. None. They're still able to do the move that they did on George Floyd. They're still able to do no-knock warrants. So what have we changed, man? They can still pull over people for a thing hanging in there. They're what do you call that? Not the visor, your rear view. Right? Shit just baffles me, man. It's like, what? It's not about accountability. It's not about transparency. Right. Oh, I know, bro. But that's what's sick to me, dog. It's like, why don't people understand that? You know, that's the one thing that bugs me because, you know, I see all of these, and I really, you know, what's crazy? I might not agree with these people, right? The Mark Carters, the Derek Gibsons, you know, the Isaiah Washingtons, but damn, I got to give them their effort, man. If it's going to get people to interact and understand what's going on and what's hurting our communities and the way that they're doing it, and we're not calling it out, we're sitting here just allowing it, because they're sitting here putting it out there in our faces. Because I can guarantee it right now that this election is already won, and because it's bought and paid for already. And that's what people is going over y'all heads. It's already bought and paid for. They're coming across the border. They're making legislation easier for them to vote. And who's giving them all the benefits? Democrats. Who's talking about deporting them? Republicans. So you tell me, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty in November, who's going to win? When you got in, because all they're going to do is replace our votes. That's it. Watch what I say. And I know this has been talked about, so I'm not just going to talk about what I say. Watch what a lot of Black conservatives are saying. What a lot of conservatives are saying, period. That they're replacing our vote. And it has nothing to do with us hating or disliking other people, other nations of people. No, it's the fact that instead of actually making change, you'll pander to another community. You'll pander to another community and say that you're defeating racism, you're fighting racism. Fuck out of here. You're promoting it. You're promoting ignorance. But y'all don't even want to talk about that. Because every time we've gotten to war, we always get refugees. Iraqis, Europeans back during World War II. No, let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about these refugee settlements. Right? Y'all don't want to have that. Man, they've been replacing us for years. And if y'all don't want to call it the Willie Lynch syndrome, let's call it something, because it seems like what they're doing, these people are indoctrinated. It's like they're programmed, right? Because they're brainwashed. Because anytime you try to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God, they silence you, right? They shut you down. They kill you. So doesn't that show y'all something? Because everybody want to talk about P. Diddy, Jeffrey Epstein. We got them same kind of niggas in our own communities. And y'all don't be saying shit. Y'all don't be saying shit. Don't be saying shit. So I don't understand it. Oh yeah, no, I definitely, you know, it's crazy. I don't even know if people understand what's even going on in the Congo, the Dominican Republic of Congo, or the Republic of Congo. You literally had Americans be a part of their coup attempt. What kind of shit is that? Even though they say dude buddy's a Republican, that still kind of threw me though, because why do we have Americans trying to overthrow governments? People really need to wake up. And if you don't want to smell the coffee, go smell some pussy. Because wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. So that's what I thought too. He was. I knew that. I was waiting to bring that up till I knew you was on here. Yeah, right. One of them. There you go. Is in a dual raising. So you tell me something ain't coming up, and I'm gonna tell y'all right now. With the Iranian president, I know he didn't really have a lot of power over there. It was more for face value than anything, right? But watch that, because there's going to be a power play. There's going to be a power play in Iran. And if we thought that the butcher was bad, from my understanding, we ain't seen shit yet. We have not seen shit. If we really thought the butcher was bad, we haven't seen shit. And let them people start thinking that we had something to do with that shit. Which they probably thinking in their mind that we had something to do with that shit, even though the weather, even the whole weather theory, I'm told, is kind of weird. So that ain't none of my business. I'm just gonna stay out of it and do what I do, observe and watch. You know what I'm saying? So people got to start watching, because the signs are there. If we thought 2020 was bad, we have not seen shit. You just wait. I'm gonna tell you right now, if the fear mongering gets bad enough, you're literally gonna see these immigrants, because they're gonna have that fear of deportation, right? Even though that there's really nothing. Here's the thing of it is, right? And I want people to understand this. If you live in a sanctuary city or state, there's nothing that the federals can come and do, the FBI, ICE, because literally that state government is going to protect you. People really need to understand what that means. Sanctuary. They do not work with the federal government. They do not work with ICE. So all these people, especially them Chicago niggas, y'all need to really wake up, because your whole state is a sanctuary state. I don't have to deal with that. I've only got to deal with certain areas that are a sanctuary here in Minnesota, right? We don't got to deal with the whole state. Y'all got to deal with the whole state. Them motherfuckers can come to your whole state and be safe. They can only come to certain areas in Minnesota and be safe. So motherfuckers think this shit's a game. It's not. This shit is really not a game anymore. 2020, it wasn't either. But we let these, that's the one thing that I realized too, is that this is chess, not checkers, right? They were out there playing checker moves, BLM. And here's the one thing that I want people to watch too, because it's funny how they threw Nakima out there. Nobody's been talking to Nakima. Nobody. So it's kind of funny to me that they use somebody that does not live in Minneapolis, that hasn't been here for a while, for a very long time, right? And yet, because when you look up her nonprofits, one's a California address, the other one's a DC address. So public information's a bitch. That's the whole funny. I'm just going to save some of these thoughts for myself, right? Not that I'm scared to say them, but I'm going to keep some, because really, honestly, they're not thoughts. They're real, actual, factual facts. But I'm going to keep them to myself, because I want these people to know I'm coming. I'm coming. And I hope they know that. Because what's crazy is all the little sly comments, motherfuckers, subliminal messages these motherfuckers putting up. Y'all need to be worried about the FBI. Y'all need to be worried about the DEA, the ATF, Department of Homeland Services. Y'all need the last person you really need to be worried about is Chaz. I can't put you in jail. We can fight. One of us can beat each other up. But at the end of the day, here's the thing. Y'all could get rid of me. You don't think that there's other people that don't know the same shit that I know? And won't keep on keeping on? Because I'm doing the same thing Malcolm did. Fred. It's that other niggas is too scared to actually try to make that change because they would rather be under the guise of nonprofit instead of actually out here doing this shit. So, I kind of want to play America again to get out about this. That was a dope song, man. Mac Turner, Louis, Prince, y'all, Riley, y'all had a banger, man. And it just shames me that we do not, in Minnesota, we do not support our own. I wish we supported our own like we supported the Timberwolves. Because you got Timberwolves fans coming out of the woodwork that, shit, I didn't even know they were Timberwolves fans. Now everybody want to post about the T-Wolves. That's all that'll go, man. But I am releasing, I did do something for them. Because I've been a lifelong fan since 1989, man. So I did do something. I did write something up for the Timberwolves. And I am going to put that over a beat. So that will be something that I'm only going to release on YouTube. Because I don't, like I said, I don't do this for profit. I don't do this for money. I do this for the enjoyment of others. I do this because I love to do it. The same thing with my podcast. I don't get paid to do this shit. Everything that I do, man, I do it off of love. The same thing with Kiki G, man. I see you out in North Carolina too. Big ups. Because that's crazy that it's like how KG had to leave Minneapolis to get a championship. You got one in Boston. Right? Why do we got to leave Minnesota to be great? We shouldn't have to. Shouldn't have to leave Minnesota to be great. But I love the fact that these people like Louis, you already know you're great and you talk it into existence. They, by any means necessary, they're going to respect you. And I love the fact of what you do. You are so talented musically. Talented. And it's crazy that you're not talked about enough, because literally you should be on the same talk with some of these, but it's the fact that, to me, people can't understand your rap, right? Because you talk about what's going on in the community a lot. And that's big ups, because you go through the shit that you see, that you go through, right? Some niggas just be talking about it. You're talking about it because you want change involved a part of it. You're not just talking about it because you want to get monetized off it. You talk about because you want to change. You want to, and that's what I love about Buddy, man. Y'all are that's what hurts me, man. Minnesota's so sleep on Louis Blaze. They so sleep on Prince Riley. They're sleep on shit. We fell asleep on the music scene. Minnesota promotes Young Gravy. Young Gravy. And we have so many other that aren't out here talking about raping. They ain't talking about killing. They ain't talking about disrespecting women. That are out here talking about changing the community. Calling out the community. Because we're some hypocrites. We can call out P. Diddy, but we can't call out the neighborhood Diddy. That don't make no sense to me, right? That don't make no sense to me, because it's crazy how you see these Republicans wanting to hold Nicole Mitchell accountable. There's still some shit y'all haven't dealt with Anton Lazaro. Let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about all the money that Lacey fucked off in 2020. Let's talk about that, and how I'm going to tell you right now, if people think that money wins elections, it all depends on how you spend that money. Can't just get $19 million and think you're going to win an election. No, when first of all, you didn't get 19 million. You only got like 4, because the company that you used to fundraise for you took a majority of it. It was like a 75-25 cut. Or no, it was like 70-30 or some shit. But yeah, Buddy didn't even get nothing. He literally got outraised Omar by far and couldn't even beat her. So what does that tell you? Money does not win elections. It's got to be used in the right way, definitely, because she definitely didn't get anywhere near close to what he got. And that's why I say it's going to be interesting to watch some of these races this year. It'll be interesting because I honestly do believe that Royce can beat Amy. Royce can beat Amy, and by a large margin too. By a large margin. If his campaign does it right, and I do believe that they will, right, because of the way that I see him talk, right, I do believe that he's going to go a certain route, and I hope that I'm here for it, and I hope that other GOP candidates follow along and they see what Royce is doing, because this will be an interesting election if they got that. Man, I'm telling you right now, Buddy on fire on Twitter, and he's not holding nothing back. He's not holding nothing back. He's not holding his tongue. The same Royce that I seen out in Brooklyn Center in 2021 and in Minneapolis in 2020, that's the Royce that I'm still seeing today, is that he doesn't care about what people think about him. He's not here to change your opinions. He's not here to care about your feelings. He's out here to make a difference. So I got to give it up for that, man. And with that being said, man, I hope everybody enjoyed today. I hope people learned. That is what matters the most, is education, because the only way to liberate is to educate. No, but you know what? I was listening to him last night. I listened to him 3 times yesterday. But that's one thing that he did talk about, is one thing that he wants to be different. He wants to change the party as a whole. And I do believe that he is somebody that has friends in high places that is able to do that. So I do believe that, because I see people like Mark Carter, Derek Gibson and some others are all around the globe or whatever that are really pushing behind Republicans. And really Royce, I mean, I look at the Republican convention last week and there was some big ass names that were there. You had the people that announced him was Steve Bannon and I forget the dude's name. But yeah, literally big GOP funders, donators, big GOP names have backed him. And I can guarantee it that Trump is going to endorse him as well. And the minute that happens, I do believe that I just know this, is that I really believe that Sicily was going to be able to do something big. I was wrong. I was so wrong, and it hurt, because that just showed me they felt like they could put a black person in and she didn't have to do nothing and she was going to be able to get our votes. No. And then there was such a backstory to her that was crazy that they didn't even want to talk about. It was like, why not? But that ain't for me to get into, but it's like, but with Royce, I already know what I'm getting. You know what I'm saying? I already know what I'm getting. I agree with a lot that he says, and I do believe he's somebody that's not just going to talk about fighting fire with fires. He's going to be somebody that is going to fight fire with fire, and not just against opposition. I believe even with people inside of his own party. So I do believe this is something that's going to be great for Minnesota politics and something that is worthwhile. And I'll just say this: grab the popcorn, because it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be an eventful year. So hope everybody had a great Tuesday. Enjoy your days. If you're in Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, be safe. We are in a weather storm, flood warning. If you're around my area, you're in a flood warning. Possibilities of very strong winds. So if you're out here in Minnesota, especially southern Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, be safe. Oklahoma, and make sure that you are seeking cover if it gets to be a very dangerous situation. So with that being said, man, win or fail, freedom or jail, heaven or hell, wish me well. Y'all have a great one.
conservative.